with a K. So excited to be with you this sort of cool January evening. You know, we are a weekly radio broadcast where we empower individuals for positive living because a negative mind will never give you a positive life. We are a safe outlet where guests can share their stories of how they have overcome challenges to live their desired life. Storytelling is awesome, and all of us have a story to tell. Our guests share personal life stories from their lived perspective. Everyone is born into a once-upon-a-lifetime story. We're just looking for our happily ever after. So hello, beautiful people. Thank you for tuning the dial or listening via the internet. So happy you are joining us tonight. And thank you for following us on Instagram and Facebook. You know, this is a sure sign that the positivity is spreading. Well, I want to give another plug to our lead anniversary party sponsors, Atlantic Vision Care. At Atlantic Vision Care, they believe that every patient deserves personal attention and professional care, and that's their foundation. They are a full-service eye and vision care provider, handling everything from scheduled appointments to unexpected eye emergencies. Their dedicated team takes the time to explain every exam and procedure. Patients from all over Bermuda visit them because they trust in their commitment to their comfort and eye health. For a higher standard of care, choose Atlantic Vision Care. So, thank you, Atlantic Vision Care, for being our sponsors. Well, beautiful people, I am thrilled tonight to have in the studio with me my men folk. Now, I don't even know that's a word or not, but I like it, my men folk. And it's going to be a thought-provoking conversation. You know why? Because both of these guys can go deep. So, Sydney and Gianluca, please greet the beautiful people of It's Been Said.
Greetings, beautiful people of Bermuda and of the world.
Okay.
Hello. Much love to everybody listening.
Okay, so you know, this is perspective and perception. And normally I would just have Gianluca, so I'm very blessed to have Dad as well. Okay, so here's my monologue. I don't even have a title for my monologue, except for the fact that there's an introduction into what we're going to conversate about tonight. You know, we all live inside institutions. But for some of us, those institutions aren't abstract ideas. They're our everyday lives. Institutions like family. Now, I come from the Wade-Berkeley clan. Yep, Wade-Berkeley clan. And then there's the institution of faith. I was once an African Methodist Episcopal Church member, and then I became a Seventh-day Adventist. And then there's education, the institution of education. And I went as far as getting a master's degree. And then there's work. And I was once a civil servant for the Bermuda government, and I was a nurse for the Bermuda Hospitals Board. Institutions. Tonight's show or conversation is personal for me. Just some transparency. I am a deeply private person. So a lot of who I am stays in the background of what you see and hear. And tonight, you're going to be listening to my husband and my son in an open dialogue. You are going to hear some of the conversations that were only discussed in the privacy of our home, probably during family worship or family council. My husband, a retired pastor who spent more than 40 years serving the church, and my son, the CEO of a business development firm who now works with organizations as they try to understand who they are and who they're becoming. I've watched both of them navigate institutions, not just as roles, but as people. I've seen faith shape our family, and I've seen our family ask hard questions of faith. I've seen education open doors and sometimes close them. This type of conversation will remind me, and hopefully you as well, beautiful people, that institutions are made of people. And people carry stories, wounds, hopes, and identities that don't always fit neatly into structure. Family has been the one institution where all this comes together for us. And in this place, personal beliefs, questioning, tradition, and change have had to learn how to coexist. So, I invite you, beautiful people, into this conversation. And while you are here, look honestly at the institutions in your own life and to ask not only what they've given you, but what they've asked of you and who you're becoming in the process. So that's my monologue. No real title, just an introduction to the conversation tonight. So you all ready? Okay, if you know someone who should be listening, now is the time to call them to tune into Magic or get on the internet to hear this conversation. I also want to let you know that telephone lines will be open for the whole duration of the show. Yep, we're going to keep it open. If you hear something and you want to comment about it, you can go ahead and call and we'll stop the conversation to hear your thoughts or questions and input. And you know you can call us at 297-1027, or if you're calling from overseas, the United States or Puerto Rico, 1-888-257-9086. Now, before I introduce you guys, is there anybody, Sydney, you want to give a shout out to? Because I know you got people listening.
I have friends in the UK, and I'm just going to generalize it to say my friends in the UK.
Okay.
Yep. But also, I have friends in Canada.
Okay.
In America.
Look at that. Okay.
And right here in Bermuda.
Of course, of course. Well, welcome again, guys. So lovely to have both of you on the show at once. I don't know. This is not your first time as a father-son presentation. Tell the beautiful people about previous occasions and why. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Daddy.
Yeah, a talk with Dad. A talk with Dad is a concept that Gianluca introduced to me, and it'll be a new space for me because it meant that I had to go with him on Instagram.
Okay,
and something that I hadn't frequented, and very new. But because he wanted to make a difference for his peers during COVID.
Okay.
I said, why not?
Of course.
Yeah, so he could take it from there.
Yeah, no, I mean, Daddy and I were having Bible studies, virtually for a while. And every once in a while I would invite some friends in to kind of sit on the Bible studies, and they really enjoyed it. And then I was like, you know what, Daddy, I have an idea. Why don't we do a talk with Dad? In the sense that we'll go on Instagram Live, and I will ask you a set amount of questions about topics.
Okay.
So some topics were about navigating relationships. Some topics are like, how do you overcome failure?
Okay.
Another one is understanding identity, right? I think one was like the difference between career and purpose, right? So like we had these themes, but usually it was a versus, right? So you find like a common theme that shared this sort of common dichotomy, I guess, right?
Right.
And I would ask him 8 to 10 questions, and he would answer them, and it was really interesting. And my friends and followers would pop in on Instagram, and they'd add their questions,
their comments.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And it was during like peak
COVID time.
Quarantine. So I think we did it for almost like 12.
No, actually, it was 40 episodes.
We did 40?
Yeah.
We did it for 40 weeks.
30 to 40, yeah.
30 to 40 weeks we did it. Every Friday night.
Yeah.
We go on and people look forward to it.
Look at that. Okay, so this is like a pseudo talk with Dad, but Mom happens to be in the picture. Sorry.
Well, we did do one episode of Talk with Mom.
Oh, yes, Talk with Mom. I remember that. Yeah. I was in Bermuda. then. I remember. I was here with my mom at that time. I remember that distinctly. Okay, so thank you guys for being here. Now, I want to get right into the conversation. Identity versus institution. That's the topic. So, when you hear the word institution, what's your first reaction? Comfort or pressure?
For me, comfort comes first.
Okay.
And because of the values that I live by, my strongest value is family. And I've always been connected with family. And even with the challenges maybe of family or some of the shortfalls of family, family comes to me with a comforting thought, a sense of belonging. And family is an institution. Education is an institution.
Sure is.
And I have 3 degrees because I love to learn. And had I not exposed myself in the formal ways of development, I would not be where I am today. So there are very comforting thoughts associated with my experience with institutions. But also, and what was the other word? One was comfort, and the other was?
And the other one was pressure.
Pressure. Pressure is a reality because institutions have expectations. And we may not always meet those expectations. Yeah, and religion is an institution that I've spent most of my life with.
Sure.
And there were pressures at given points with things to accomplish, things to achieve.
Right.
But also, I was a public administrator. And there were also pressures associated with institutions.
In the Bermuda government.
In the Bermuda government, yeah. So the presence of institutions to me is a comforting thought, but the reality is that along with the joys comes the challenges. And sometimes those challenges are so severe that they even threaten your sense of identity. And that's what increases the tension and the pressures.
Okay. Gianluca, comfort or pressure?
I don't know if I feel either of them.
Well, where would you choose?
I see institutions as vehicles. You know, when I see a car, I mean, it depends where I'm trying to go, you know? It could be a comfortable car if it's a ride. It could be a means to an end. It could be, I hope this car moves fast enough so I don't miss my flight, you know? I see institutions as vehicles. They serve the purpose of getting something from one place to the other.
Right.
Or organizing something while it's within it. Right? I wouldn't attribute or personify it in that sense. I think it's just a vehicle. It's a necessary system to somebody, and if it's placed in government or school, it's a necessary system that you have to learn and pass through during navigate during a specific phase of your life, or it's a way of connecting with a desired community. It's just a vehicle. I think it's a means to an end, right? And the community within it or without it is what defines that pressure or comfort. But institution in itself, I think, is agnostic. It's just a vehicle.
Just a vehicle. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Different dynamic there. Okay. Sydney. So after 40 years as a pastor, did the church mostly shape who you are, or did you shape how the church showed up?
I believe the church probably shaped me more than my shaping it. And at the same time, I shaped it within the context of its mission, its operations, which I embraced.
Okay.
Yeah, and so once you accept an institution, you accept it, hopefully because you love being a part of it, you believe in it, you want to foster its cause. And I embraced the institutions that I belong to in that vein and sought to make a positive contribution through it. But the shaping of the outcome was more a shaping of me because I came into it without a true sense of who I am. And I say that, which really was a discovery after my retirement.
Okay.
But going along the journey, I basically accepted my ownership of the institutions to which I belonged as my purpose. And with that, I fulfilled the obligations as well as attitude, ways of advancing the cause. And so from that angle, it was being shaped by the organizations, the institutions I belong to.
That you're a part of, yeah.
And more so from, but yet at the same time, it was my individual ownership, you know, of who I was within it.
Right. Were there ever moments those two, yourself and the institute, pulled in different directions? Did you ever feel that?
Very much so. And I would say more so in the later half of my career as a pastor. And this was, there was a period that we as a family went cross-culture. And we were missionaries in Cameroon. And we were there for about nearly 6.5 years. And that experience of exposure also shaped my thinking in significant ways. And so when I left mission service and returned back to Bermuda, I was not really the same person that I was when I left.
Sure.
And that became more evident when my self-expression began to find conflict within what was a norm that I had left.
Okay.
Yeah, and so yes, there's times that the tension is real. And within that context, there are specific situations that unfolded where that tension became even more significant.
Was there more than one situation, or was there a number? Or
There was at least a few, but the few were significant. And I would just mention just a few. One, my brother's employment ending as a pastor. For me was an issue of tension and clashing between individual spiritual identity and religious institutional expectations.
Got it. Yeah.
And that was the same context when it came to my losing my employment.
Wow.
And then there was the fact of my self-identity, my self-spiritual identity as a teacher.
Right.
And the fulfillment of that divine destiny that found conflict with institutional expectations because the roles and functions that I was employed for did not permit the kind of specialization that I wanted to engage and believe that God had called me to fulfill.
Sure.
And certain visions that I had were not fulfilled in a manner in which they were intended and in which I believed it was my role to fulfill because of individual identity and clash with institutional identity.
Okay. Fair enough. So, Gianluca, and thank you, Sydney. Thank you. In you're a consultant. That's what you would describe yourself. In your consulting work, do people bring their whole selves into the institutions or leave parts behind to fit in?
Well, a lot of the work that I do is directly with founders, and they're in the process of birthing their own institution or their own business or curating their own sort of environment or ecosystem, right? And, with Sydney Palmer, my priority and focus is story. Right? It's strategy that is centered in storytelling.
Right.
And the story is very much aligned with your identity and who you are.
Yeah.
Right? So I remember I onboarded a client last year.
What does onboarded mean?
That I was basically bringing them into my system of working.
Okay.
Right? So onboarding them as a client, right? And a part of the exercise is I wanted to interview everyone who worked in the company individually, asking them the same set of questions.
Okay.
Right? Based on the assumptions and the story, right, that was based on the narrative of the founder. And I wanted to cross-examine. Why? Because if you're creating an institution, you want some level of alignment, right? But because it's story-centered, my interest this is my bias, right?
Yeah.
Is less in the story of the institution, but more so in the individual stories of the collective unit that makes up the institution.
Okay.
Right? Because at the founding or startup level, you have the opportunity to be close enough to the ground that the institution is made up of people by the people, right? Because we haven't grown to this sort of like bureaucratic corporation yet. If you're successful, it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But it's like, how do we maintain that level of human authenticity in this process? And it was funny. I interviewed everybody, and there were two people whose stories seemed to misalign with the institution. But there was one more so than I told the founder, I was like, hey, look, everybody else is here, but this guy's story is very different.
Wow.
Make sure he stays in administration behind the wall.
Okay.
He shouldn't be client facing.
Okay.
Within 2 weeks, that guy left the company.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
And then a little after, I'll say maybe 4 months after that, the other one whose story didn't fully align, she was asked to leave the company.
Look at that.
Right? And
how important is it? Huh?
That tells you how strong story is. Right?
Yeah.
So for me, I was able to hear one story and can say, you're not going to fit with the institutional direction of this company because your story doesn't align. And that's okay.
Sure. And that's important. If it doesn't align,
and that's okay.
It's all right.
Because she's brilliant and she's going to be successful wherever she goes. And she's already successful. It's just that her version of success doesn't align with the success of the overall story of that company or the institution that founder envisions.
Right. Yeah.
So, and also to answer your question, I mean, I consult institutions. I collaborate with institutions.
Right.
But I'm very rarely permanently within an institution.
Okay.
Right? Because I just don't. That's not my calling.
Right.
And being a pastor's son and witnessing, I would say, the two sides of institutions. Sure, there's family, there's togetherness, there's community, there's a lot of that beauty. But when your livelihood is dependent on a sole institution, and one day you wake up and your story doesn't align, then the question is identity versus livelihood, because that's what it feels like. And for me, witnessing that as, I would say, a preteen, I was like, I will never allow my livelihood to weigh in the balance of a single institution.
Got it.
And that was around the time I decided I'd never become a pastor.
Yes.
But hey, look, it's life, right? I mean, I'm grateful for my upbringing.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's the reality of it,
Yeah. And identity is important. If you see it, like you said, the story doesn't align, why? For the sake of what?
For the sake of what?
Yeah, very, very true, very true. Okay, so let's go back to Sydney. You guided a lot of families professionally through your pastoring. But at home, did you ever feel torn between being a pastor and just being daddy?
I think the challenge was real, but because I was hyper-focused,
still
hyper-driven, my personality is such that if I take on something, I give it all.
Okay.
Now, you should say, if I take on the family, I should give my family all.
Yes, indeed.
And that is absolutely right.
Yes.
But that's not what I did.
Oh.
Now, I made sure that my family, as I understood it, was safe and secure. Even though I may have dropped the ball, I've always been committed to family. But when I look back at my journey, I was more committed to an institution.
And that wasn't the family?
That was not the family.
Okay.
It was another institution. It was my employment. It was my religion. It was my church. And the problem for me was the belief that religion and spirituality were one and the same.
Sure.
And that meant everything that had to do with the church and the religion was God. And since I love God, and God was my first line of love, by attaching everything about the church expected in the eyes as if it were the will of God, that allowed me to justify not giving my family more of the priority that they deserve.
Okay. Yeah.
But the problem for me was not so much with my children. I don't believe that my children felt the full impact, even though we just heard John Lucas' comment.
Yeah.
So it's not that they were not affected at all. But in terms of father, to my children, I don't think they felt it as much as you did.
Okay, all right, here we go. Transparency, guys.
But for you, you lived with me all my life, supported me wherever I went.
Right.
And you were faithful, in that commitment to me in the church.
Sure.
On my side, I actually expected that of you.
Well, yes.
You know,
yes,
and I expected that if God was in my life and God was leading me and He was leading us, then you should follow. So rather than seeing you as an individual with an identity that was individual, and that you had a special role that God had called you to be, your identity in my mind was more so helping me to succeed in my role and function as a pastor.
Sure.
So first of all, that role and roles and function was a religious identity that I had earned. So it really wasn't even my identity.
No.
Yeah, not the one that came from within, but the one I embraced from without. And your identity was secondary. That's how it unfolded. And it was not really until post-retirement that I really took time to think it through, that I could see it and accept it for what it really was. And I really want to apologize to you for the abuse.
Oh, dear.
Emotional abuse that was attached to not just the expectations of the church, but my expectations of you that were not realistic. That were informed by my interpretation of the beliefs that I adopted to be the basis of my way of living. And I'll give a very simple example, if I may.
Sure.
Early in our marriage, I remember once you wanted to just have a simple stripe on our car.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, for some people listening to this, it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you. But for me, this was not acceptable for a pastor.
Yes.
It was, and I use words like too fleshy.
Yes, I remember.
Too much focus, attention being brought on yourself. And whatever I described, it was really saying what you were doing is not just a wrong thought. It is actually sinful, almost. My mind was so black and white. And that I interpreted something simple that you wanted to express just yourself.
Just make the car look a little bit more different.
And your joy. And it's all about your personality and your identity. But what did I do? I destroyed it. I destroyed it.
We got no stripe on that car.
Yeah. So that's just one of many examples where my beliefs and how I had interpreted and applied my religious way of life that created problems for individuals. And for the one who was closest to me and who I loved the most, I created the greatest hurt.
And truth be told, part of the whole, I guess, the structure, especially when we were ordained, that we were a team, that we were one. Now, I was not going to be the one that was going to take the lead. You were. So I was to be molded into the aspect of you and your calling and your giftedness and your religious experience.
So, and even by the support, because I'm sure many couples there is that support.
Sure.
That is given.
And some love it. They grow with it.
But the problem that I see and that I perpetuated was not simply receiving that support, but failing to allow you to explore and experience your own identity in the package. So you can support, but have your own identity.
Absolutely. Yes. And I appreciate that. I receive it, dear. It's true. We've had this conversation before, but thank you once again for that.
You're welcome.
And it's been said as part of that, allowing me to grow. And you're there supporting me 200%.
Thank you. And it is a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Gianluca, so back to you. Growing up in a pastor's household, did you feel more like a regular kid or like you were on display?
I think there's an obvious answer here, right? You're definitely on display. Whether it's said, implied, or expected, it just is what it is. Now, what I will say is that from a parenting perspective, I would say you and Daddy always made an effort to have me develop as an individual, right? And I never felt like that. Put on a show because you represent this family,
right.
That was never my experience. I think anything that we did was always cultivating my interests, my talents. If I spoke on stage, I wanted to speak on stage.
Sure.
If I started playing saxophone, I wanted to play the saxophone. So I think from that aspect, I naturally enjoyed these things. Right? I'm very competitive. I mean, we had Bible bills and stuff like that. I wanted to win, and because of all the family worships we had, I usually knew all the answers, right? So I think from that aspect, I enjoyed it. For the majority of my childhood, Daddy, you worked in administrative roles, right? You were the executive secretary, you were the president of the conference, you were the superintendent of the school. So it was different. I didn't really have that experience of growing up and my dad being the pastor of the church.
Got it.
Right? So that, in a sense, I think took off a lot of the pressure as well, because I wasn't like the head pastor's son in that sense. You know?
Right.
You pastor churches when I was really young, before I was born, and then after I went to school. So I didn't have that.
You kind of dodged that ball.
I dodged that. But what I did have was the expectation of church members.
Okay.
Because I was on stage, because I spoke, because I played saxophone, because I sang in church, all these sort of things, there was a level of conduct I was expected to have.
Sure.
Right? And I think
justifiably so, you think?
I mean, it's any child. If your dad's a president, if your dad's a minister, if your dad's the ambassador, if your dad's the governor, or your mom, the CEO of the company, regardless, if they hold any high position, any institution, and you are their offspring, there's an expectation, right?
Okay.
I think it doesn't matter what institution. If any of your parents hold high position in an institution, you are somehow expected to honor their role and their prestige, which is, I mean, it's what institutions come with.
It sure does.
But I mean, living in 5 different countries, by the time I'm 16, I'm at 8 different schools, I got really good at learning people. I got really good at mirroring.
Okay.
So we lived in Cameroon, I mirrored. We lived in Michigan, I mirrored. Jamaica. So the institution, I was like, oh, that's what you guys want? I'll just mirror it.
Sure. So
I would say all the way up until my early 20s, I there was like a duality. I had what I mirrored to the institution, so they'll stay off my back. And then I had the identity I felt comfortable with when I was with my friends and wherever else I was. So it was like a double life that I had to unlearn going into adulthood. But yeah, I managed.
Do you think that shaped how you see authority today?
Of course.
Okay.
I'm a rogue entrepreneur. First I was a rogue artist.
Oh yes, yes, indeed.
And that rogue artist is now also a rogue artist entrepreneur, and I think that's because I no longer want to live in a level of duality. I don't want to mirror what expectations demand of me.
Sure.
I had to unlearn being a people pleaser. I had to unlearn recently, as of last year, being highly judgmental of people with perspectives or ideologies that are different from me. I had to unlearn the concept of right or wrong, and I had to adopt the concept of outcome. Actions and choices produce outcomes. Depending on your perception of that outcome, it's right or wrong to you. But the inherent rightness or wrongness of things may not be something that is an absolute. I learned that laws can't be broken, they break you. And everything else is up for consideration. So there's a lot of things, new things I had to redefine.
Sure.
And they say to achieve something you've never achieved, you must become someone you've never been. And with the goals and aspirations and levels of purpose I've had in my life, I've had to become somebody new, sometimes on a quarterly basis, which means unlearning. And I realize that as great as many institutions are, if you fall too deep within it, it can cripple your ability to evolve as a human.
Oh, and I tell you, just hearing you say that, I just think that there are so many graveyards of people that could have been.
Of course.
Institutions buried them.
That's it. And even institutions themselves, once again, like institutions are vehicles. Institutions don't lack the ability to evolve.
No.
It's the people who hold power in institutions that are threatened by its ability to evolve beyond them.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, so it's people say, are knives dangerous? Well, it depends who's holding it.
Yeah.
Are institutions bad? Well, it depends who's in power.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, we like to say that institutions, or let's say the religious institution, is a vehicle for God. But who's running the show? Is it God or the man in charge? Right? And I think once you do the math, you see who's in charge. So when you see the outcome, is that God's outcome or the people in charge's outcome? And if it's their outcome, then who's running the show?
Yeah.
Right? And this is math. This is not me speculating. This is basic math.
Sure.
If we take an objective look to 1 + 1 equals an outcome, what decisions are producing an outcome? Who are the people driving that decisions? And if you try to change that decisions, who are the ones blocking it?
Yeah.
If God is none of those answers, then who's running the institution?
Yeah.
But if we don't take that objective approach, right?
Yeah. You will never know.
Yeah, and then the last thing I would say is like, Daddy, you apologize because you say you not allowing Mommy to put the line on the car was an infringement of her identity. But if an institution that you pledge allegiance to is not cultivating your ability to see your identity, and you've yet to see yours, then how will you have the tools to see somebody else's?
And beyond that, because I chose to belong to the institution of religion. And that gets back to the neutrality of institutions that you were talking about, Gianluca, that the institution in and of itself is not the issue. You know, it's more in terms of the individual's alignment with that institution or not.
Right.
So my choice to align with a way of thinking that created problems for my wife,
right?
You know, is a problem that I have to earn. Yeah, that is not the institution's problem. Right? I chose to believe. On the other hand, an institution of religion has a moral right and obligation for every believer. And in the Christian context, there is a teaching of the spiritual giftedness. And so every believer, and we think back in the 16th century, you talk about the Protestant Reformation, and one of the principles that they fought for is the Bible being the rule of faith, and also of the believer being able to connect directly with God, right? Rather than be controlled by the institution that informs the outcome. And so that can apply in any religious institution, you know. And so if the church, who is claiming to be fulfilling the will of God and empowering people, along with its corporate vision and mission, there must also be a mission for the individual believer. And that is for that believer to discover who they are, to fully empower them to nurture that identity and to fulfill it.
Right.
Not simply to advance the cause of the corporate institution.
Right.
So there's the balance between that corporate identity and a clear sense of responsibility in the interest of the individual believer. And so that's when it comes back to what you're saying, of empowering me as a believer to rightly fulfill my purpose and rightly understand the will of God.
And I'll just add, I have my criticisms, but in doing business consulting, I read so many books. I watch lectures, I watch interviews. The larger an institution is, the harder it is to maintain a level of humanity. It's very, very difficult. So in saying what I say, I'm not trying to shame leaders of large institutions when things go. It's tough. It is a very difficult task.
Absolutely.
We don't understand the levels of pressure that people who sit in high roles in institutions face when it comes to decision making. And I think though there are casualties to institutions, right now there are some leaders who are not good. There are some who are good. But like I said, it's all dependent on what side of the outcome you're sitting on. Right. It's just a reality, and how do you navigate it? I think it's an ongoing solution that we're trying to solve, because it's not just a religion thing. It's a politics thing. It's a big business thing. I mean, I sat on a panel during Climate Week in New York. It was family offices.
Okay.
Right? So people who sit on funds that sometimes manage up to $40 billion.
Ooh.
Right? And they talk about how do we find humanity when you're overseeing $40 billion?
Oh, my goodness.
And you only have time to look at the numbers.
Too many zeros.
Right? Do you know how many people those funds impact? Do you know how overwhelming it would be for a set of fund managers to sit down and hear the complaints and the concerns of individuals who are affected? They're not God.
No.
They're not God.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge. Now, I still have my criticisms of it, but I'm also very aware it is a difficult task to manage humanity and large-scale institutions simultaneously.
Sure. Absolutely. Awesome stuff there. So, to both of you, you can decide to go first. Can faith stand on its own without structure, or does it need an institution to survive?
I think faith comes before institutions and operates outside of institutions.
Okay.
But at the same time, I believe that as social beings, humanity operates most efficiently collectively through some kind of structure. And institutions provide structure to guide and to maximize the effectiveness of a mission that you embrace. But the importance, I believe, for the individual is to experience a faith that allows them to be an individual. So when it comes to identity here, for me, the issue is who's in control. Is it the inner identity that we discover?
Right.
Or is it an external force or institution that is controlling us? Have we allowed an outside force to come inside of us and to be bigger than the self who is in us?
Yes,
And to be able to reach a point in life where we identify with that inner self.
Okay.
That's the issue.
Sure.
Okay, so faith versus institution, faith in institution. But I bring my faith into institution with my clear sense of identity, and I now control that destiny within or outside of an institution. And I'm not overwhelmed or controlled by to the detriment of my identity.
Okay. Excellent. Gianluca, can faith stand on its own without structure, or does it need an institution to survive?
It definitely doesn't need an institution to survive. I think it doesn't. The answer, it doesn't.
Right.
But I think in the world we live in, like I said, institutions are vehicles. Right? I think faith is challenging. Right? Sustaining faith is challenging. How long can you maintain faith if you don't see results? It becomes a challenge. I think support systems, right? An institution could be a support system.
Yep. I like that.
An institution could be an educational system. An institution can be a safe haven, right?
Yeah.
Just a sustaining mechanism.
Right.
I think it all depends on what vehicle do you need.
Absolutely.
If you're growing up, business, right? I like thinking in business. If you're growing a business, certain businesses need an LLC. Certain businesses need an investment vehicle while having an LLC.
Right.
Some businesses need a fictitious business. There's so many different vehicles in business that one business can use.
Okay.
It depends on what phase or what scale your business is at.
Right.
I think where faith and institution becomes a challenge is when someone tries to tell you your faith can only exist in one sole vehicle. And if it's not in this vehicle, then your faith is compromised. I think that's what becomes difficult.
Sure.
Because, once again, institutions are vehicles, right?
Okay,
maybe I need a bus, maybe you need a car, and maybe you need a plane.
Sure.
But if we're all told true faith only lives in a bus, that can pose a challenge to the one who needs a car and the one who needs a plane.
Yeah.
And they become the outcasts of the bus. and the ones who need the bus sit comfortably. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a great visual, an absolute great visual. Indeed. So I appreciate that. We're going to touch a little bit on education. So, Gianluca, do you think education today is more about shaping identity or preparing people to function inside systems? Now, you have a master's degree, so you're going above the norm in the sense of being educated.
Okay. So the lovely listeners don't think I'm some radical. I'm not an anarchist, for one. I believe in systems. I do believe in the value of institutions, right? I have benefited greatly from multiple institutions. I've been supported by institutions, even though I have my grievances, but I have my grievances with extreme liberalism as well. So I think that there's a balance there.
Right.
Though what I will say is the traditional educational system right now, I think does pose some level of concern because of how much freedom in learning it lacks, right? I think as children, we learn through imagination, through trial and error, and through sometimes free-form exploration. And in many ways, that expedites how fast we can learn things.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
A perfect example is I was a C Spanish student at the age of 16 while attending Saltus Grammar School.
Yes, indeed.
Right? Within 4 months of being in Spain, I was communicating in Spanish. Within 8 months, I was fluent in Spanish, reading Spanish books, and according to my roommate, talking in my sleep in Spanish. Right?
Look at that.
So an immersive experience expedited my learning curve. Right? I think there are many immersive experiences that could help in development that aren't a part of traditional institutional learning.
Okay.
And in many ways, it's check the box, act this way. Don't tell me what you can imagine. Show me what you can memorize. Right? Don't tell me your opinion. Regurgitate to me what the textbook said. I think that level of teaching definitely prepares institutionalized minds.
Yeah. They wore the uniform on, so they can now go ahead and put their hands up and vow to be there.
But what I will say is, we'd love to point fingers at institutions. I think it's on the family. Because I went to an institution.
Yes.
Right? I attended BI, I attended Saltus and many other schools. And I think those schools, based on what they thought they had to do, did their best to give me a solid education.
Sure.
But then I had parents that made sure I did karate, I did saxophone, I did debate outside of school, I volunteered, I did Duke of Edinburgh. You see what I'm saying? I played football, I played tennis, I did French, I did Spanish, I did fine art, all outside of school. Right? So my family invested in my learning to give me a well-roundedness. So what happened? I learned how to be this rogue, creative, imaginary child outside of school. And then I also learned to have respect and the discipline to function within institutional mindset. So I graduated with both.
Yes. Important. Very important.
And when I wanted to be a rogue artist in Southern California, I knew that being in a master's program would extend my student visa. So I used the institution of immigration and education to stay in the country legally.
Sure.
And then I used my creative exploration outside of school to build the career and life I wanted. Right? So once again, is it good or bad?
The vehicle.
Use it to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's my perspective.
Okay, I love that. Dad, Sydney, where do you think moral and character formation really happens now? In schools, churches, families, or somewhere else?
I believe that the family is the ideal first stop.
But where does it really happen?
It probably happens within society. I think people sort of navigate life for themselves. Some may have been disappointed by family or even abused in family. Some may have become disillusioned by religion.
Sure.
And others, for whatever other reason, have not found in traditional institutions the solutions to their problems. And so through their navigating life for themselves, trial and error brings about that, I guess, the pathway to a new discovery. So I believe that even within society, groups begin to form their own family. And I'll call that the chosen family.
Okay.
You know, so whatever group you your friends, and the circle that you move in, you know, the path you choose to engage.
Right.
So I think life provides opportunity for some people to find how to live a better life.
But ideally,
I believe the institutions of family are the beginning point. And I believe it's the place where parents have to take on the challenge. You know, if we take on the responsibility to enjoy our lives and bring someone in the world, I believe we have an obligation to make sure that that person who we bring into the world has all the opportunity to grow, to develop, and to get the best. You know, there is to find themselves and to find a path in life where they can match their identity with a need to serve humanity and find satisfaction.
And I thank you for that. And I'm going to give you a question, Sydney, because you were a leader in an institution.
Yeah.
And so you held that position because of you either voted in or they saw something in you. Did you ever struggle when you saw other people start asking identity level questions?
I began to, yes.
You not yourself.
No.
Right.
Because I saw, and somebody came to my mind right away. And even as recent, maybe about a year ago, actually called me again after many years.
Right.
And began to share an idea that they had. And I could feel the energy and their excitement about it. And so I sort of tried to help them to consider the leadership of the institution that they are in. How would they view this? You know, but happily for me, they had reached that point of understanding, and yet found that there was this challenge, potential challenge, because their individuality was moving one way, and they knew the church of which they were a part probably didn't have that as a priority. Yeah, so yes, that's an example of others. And I think of someone else now. Someone else now who, and this was another area of religion in tension. I was a pastor of a church, and this is someone who was a drummer, a professional drummer.
Sure.
And they had not played much, but when I heard them play, I said, this is a gift. This is a gift. And I encouraged them to play in church. And they played. And it was so enriching to the organization.
Sure.
At this point in my pastoral leadership, the mindset of the church of which I was a part did not see the drums in the divine worship in church as being something that was truly spiritual. Yeah. And so here was a question for me. A person who was gifted and just wanted to express that giftedness.
Right.
And in a way that was a benefit to many.
Sure.
But it was not supported, you know, by the group understanding, you know, the religious life. And yes, so things like that created problems for me.
Of course.
Yeah, because I believe that these individuals need to have opportunity for self-expression.
Absolutely. So, Gianluca, last question, then I'm going to ask you a question, both of you. Do you think this younger generation rejects institutions, or are they just asking better questions?
It's difficult because I think in many ways the younger generation is polarized. And they're polarized on the realities that they grow up in, right? I think there are a lot. I wouldn't say they're anti-institution.
Right.
But I think they're anti-institutions not evolving. Right? I think there have been previous generations that have kind of been raised to comply.
Loyalty.
Right? They're loyal to the institutions and they stand by them. And I think loyalty has value, right? But I think as times change and as the world evolves, right, institutions also evolve.
Have to be.
Right? They have to.
Be. They have to.
And I think that's why understanding laws versus rules are important. Laws don't, when I talk about laws of nature.
Yes, understandable.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at the laws of nature. They don't really evolve. They just are. Gravity will stay.
It sure will.
The makeup of water will always be the makeup of water, right? There are certain things that won't change.
Yeah.
But those things that can be changed probably should change a little bit. They probably should change a little bit. And I think the younger generation, I think they've reached a point where they can sense things are changing and they're open to it, right? But beyond the younger generation, older generation, I think anybody who has a sense of identity and purpose will see the opportunity and the beauty of change.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
It's not this push and pull. No, it's just the beauty of life.
Yeah.
Landscapes change. The seasons drive change. Technology drives change.
Yes.
Discovery and just there's so much beauty in change.
Isn't it? It's just lovely. It's lovely.
Two things that you can't avoid. Things will change and life will end.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
These are just two realities and they're beautiful. And I think the more we can embrace the beauty of change and growth, the faster we can all live our unique individual purposes while maintaining some level of collective community.
Yeah.
Right? And I think there's beauty in it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not against institution. Right, I think anarchy is not good as a totality of way of living life. I think levels of government are important. I think laws of the area are important. I think
absolutely
religion institutions do serve a purpose, as do political institutions, as do enterprise and business institutions.
Sure.
Right? I just think we all have to understand that without humans, none of this matters.
No.
And if we don't change, we expire in value.
Yes,
right?
we do. Yeah.
And
we lose our intentionality of it.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
our relevancy. Last question. Son, Gianluca, what kind of institution do you hope to build or disrupt for the next generation? One sentence.
My focus right now is to create collaborative ecosystems.
Okay.
Right? Collaborative ecosystems essentially allows everyone in that ecosystem to show up in their authentic value, to work together with the others who show up in their authentic value, and to finish the pieces that make a puzzle that serve a specific purpose.
I love that.
That's mutually beneficial to all the people that are part of it.
Okay.
That's what I want to do. I want to create that collaborative ecosystem.
Collaborative ecosystems. And Sydney, what matters more to you now? Being remembered as a pastor or simply as a person?
Being remembered as a person.
Okay.
And as a person who has grown, developed to love himself. Something I did not do.
Okay.
Until my more recent reflections after retirement.
Sure.
But love yourself enough to discover who you are and to match that identity with the need to serve humanity.
Okay.
My journey of reflection has given me my new religion of love.
Yes, indeed.
And that love rejects fake love and accepts true love. And so that which has brought greater joy and a more meaningful satisfaction for me, I want to share with others.
Okay.
And my desire is to help others to construct love, construct true love, so that they, with me and with the world, can enjoy an abundant life.
Indeed. Well, beautiful people, thank you for listening to our conversation tonight. Sydney and Gianluca, as I listen to this conversation, I want to repeat what my sister always says, Sister Talk. Family is everything. And I'm aware that I've lived most of my life between your two voices and our two daughters. I've watched you, Sydney, give yourself faithfully to an institution that you believed in. And I've watched you, Gianluca, learn how to question institutions without losing yourself inside them. I've stood beside you, both of you, in moments of certainty and in moments of doubt. Thank you for your clarity, your honesty, and being so very special to me. I love you. I'm proud of the men you have become. It means more than I can say to share this conversation with both of you and to share it with our listeners. I'm excited for what the future holds for both of you as you impact the world. Now, I saw the phone ringing earlier on. I don't see it ringing now, but I'll give you a couple of seconds if you want to call. We've talked about institution and identity, and it's been a very powerful conversation. So you can call at 297-1027 or 1-888-257-9086 on Magic 102.7 FM. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation, and I have enjoyed it. I don't see the phones ringing, so I'm going to have to... Gianluca wants to say something.
I just want to say one quick thing. The through line of my life, as far as institution, is the most impactful institution I've had is that of family. I've been blessed with two beautiful parents, and for as much as, Daddy, you dedicated your time to institution, you also did to family. And for the times that Daddy was under the obligation institution, Mommy, you held it together with the family and made sure everything was running and individuals were developed. So I'm appreciative of that. And I sat here talking to Glenn, and we interviewed all those that came down for 2 weeks of Magic.
Oh yeah.
And a common through line for all of them was family. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my family.
Yes.
Or someone came along in my life and became family.
Sure.
And because of that touch point, I've been able to be, or I was able to do. So I think in all of this, institutions will come. They will be for different reasons. But the one of family is so important. So thank you for giving me that platform, because if it wasn't for that platform, I wouldn't have been able to do the things that I've done.
No, you're quite welcome. If I could just add to this, you asked me about a shout out.
Yes.
And my shout out right now is to Melissa and Kim Roy, Miss Steer, Patrick, and Noah.
Yes, the other part of our family. The rest
of our immediate family and our extended family. And the love is mutual, Gianluca. I love you, Katerina, and thank you,
I love you
for
too.
loving. Thank you, Gianluca, Miss Steer, and Melissa. Family is number one. Family comes first.
Indeed. Okay, so thank you, beautiful people, for listening in to It's Been Said. Everyone is born into their once upon a lifetime story, and we live to experience our happily ever after. What about you? If you have a story that you believe is uplifting, please send me an email at coolcat00@hotmail.com, and we will get in contact with you. Thank you, beautiful people, once again for following us on Facebook, on It's Been Said with Cat Wade, and on Instagram, It's Been Said with Cat Wade. Next week is going to be just as special. We meet together every week to hear everyday stories of ordinary people who have overcome challenges, finding ways to cope, and to live extraordinary lives. I'm going to have a drink. Hang on. There we go. Because as we say, a negative mind will never give you a positive life. So until next time, stay positive.
Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.